Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of On Track GP. I'm here in Norwich actually at a team that I do a lot of work for called Mirage Engineering. They service and store a lot of very, very famous Formula One cars. So we're going to give you a little bit of a step back in time and show you how these cars are looked after, how we keep them running, and yeah, what they were like for the drivers. Come and have a look, guys. So here I'm standing next to a very, very important car. This is a Lotus 18, which is powered by a 2.5 litre straight 4 Coventry Climax engine. And the reason this car is so special, this was the very first car that Jim Clark scored World Championship points in. You see, this is where the body's missing here. There is literally nothing between where the driver would sit. You know, so if you hit the wall, you don't know what's going to happen. And then, of course, the weirdest thing is if you actually come and have a look inside the cockpit, the driver is sat on top of the fuel tank. The fuel literally goes in there and the driver is surrounded by fuel as he's driving around. I mean, when you actually think about what these guys were doing, driving these cars up to 170 miles an hour with this little safety, they really were true gladiators. Now we move on to a very, very special car. This is a John Player Special ex-Emerson Fittipaldi, Ronnie Peterson, Lotus 72. Now this exact car that we have here has won 4 Grand Prix and had Ronnie Peterson's first podium in the Monaco Grand Prix. And as you can see, compared to our previous car, how the evolution in aerodynamics, the evolution in technology has really started to come in. So the engines have been upgraded from a 2.5 litre Coventry Climax, to be quite honest, probably my favorite engine in the world, the DFV. All right, in saying this is your favorite car?
It is my favourite car. Yeah. Basically, I've worked on this car since 2014. In that year, fine. Katsu and us won the historic Monaco Grand Prix.
It's pretty cool.
Pole position, fastest lap, won the race. He then let me do the lap of honour afterwards in it.
That's got to be a highlight. That's on the highlight reel, isn't it?
Every day. But, yeah. It's a great car.
Yeah. So here we come up to a very special car. This is a Tyrell 011 from 1982. It was the last win for the Cosworth DFV engine, which is the most successful Formula One engine of all time. And I particularly like this car because I actually get to drive it. And you know, you'll be able to see an onboard lap from Hockenheim in this car. And this, for me, it's when Formula One cars started to evolve into their current form and technology started to get seriously impressive. And as you can see, this is an aluminium monocoque, and safety started to actually become a bit of a talking point at this time because the cars started to reach some crazy speeds, but it still wasn't everything. And the one thing which is absolutely frightening about these cars, and it's a very strange sensation when you drive them, is you actually look where the driver's sat, your feet are actually in front of your wishbones. So apart from the wing, the first impact that you're going to have is going to be on your legs. And when you actually think about that from a safety point of view, it's absolutely frightening. And here we are with another very famous car, especially for the English fans. We all know who James Hunt is, of course, the famous story of Niki Lauda versus Hunt from the 1976 title in the movie Rush. And this was the car that he won his first Grand Prix in, the 1974 International Trophy at Silverstone. A very special car, the Hesketh. And of course, we can see on the seat, we've got the famous Hesketh teddy bear. So we can see here, we've got this huge airbox right above the driver, which is a complete far cry from what we had with some of the older generation cars. Again, we've got a wonderful Cosworth DFV engine in the back. Of course, my favorite engine. Massive rear tires just to put down all of that power. And again, this is still being used by the current owner to this day. Very special car, and it's great to see it being used properly rather than being in a museum. And again, showing off the development phase that Formula One went through. So yeah, beautiful piece of kit. So now we're going to hear probably one of the best well, in my opinion, the best sounding Formula One engine of all time, the Cosworth DFV. This was a mainstay engine in Formula One through the 70s into the 80s. So yeah, we're going to show off what a Formula One car should sound like, which means I'm going to have to get myself prepared and get these on. Biggest question I've got is, do the neighbours mind you doing this?
The swimming pool does, yeah.
How far is the swimming pool away?
It's next door.
Oh, okay.
I love it. Because it's like one,
You start getting these ripples through the water.
one big tunnel, so it just echoes all the way through.
So here I am with Joe from Mirage Engineering, who again has the distinct displeasure of being my mechanic sometimes.
Don't know if displeasure is the right way of saying it. We've always been alright.
So Joe, tell me what it's like, what we've got here, what the cars are like, what it's like to work on them. You see the progression of Formula One, motorsport technology through the years.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's a blessing. You know, we get to do so much and see so much, and you know, we've as you can see, we've got a fantastic array of lots of different cars. We've got 60s Formula One, 70s Formula One, 80s and 90s Formula One now. A bit of saloons and some sports cars in there for good measure. You know, it's every day is different. You know, you can come to work one day, you could be working on a 1960s Formula One car. The next day, it's a Le Mans car. You know, we've been fortunate enough to work all around the world. Something that really stands out for me is you've got all of these cars, and they're all trying to achieve the same goal. Yeah, they all want to go out, they want to win races, they want to win world championships,
and the cars aren't in museums, which is the most important thing.
You know, we're fortunate that they aren't, but all of the manufacturers from that time, they all had the same goal, and they all went different ways about it to get there.
So I hope you enjoyed having this tour of, and thank you to the guys from Mirage Engineering. We've seen some really cool, famous cars. We've seen the evolution of Formula One from the 1960s through to the 80s, which is the sort of time we get to the contemporary looking cars that we have now. Obviously, you've got to also, the highlight for me is always hearing a DFV, my favorite engine in Formula One history, and to be honest, one of my favorite engines to drive as well. We've got an onboard from Hockenheim in that Tyrell coming up, which you're about to see. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have, and yeah, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and yeah, we'll see you next time for On Track GP. Have a good one, guys.